Mr. Paulsen's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, this testimony really strikes home with me. It's very similar to what I'm hearing from a lot of folks in Minnesota, employers, particularly in the restaurant industry and retail industry in particular, and also fire departments. I mean, there's no doubt that I've heard from several fire chiefs that have told me the bottom line is that if the language is not changed, the law is not changed in the Affordable Care Act, a lot of city fire departments are going to have to either lay off or reduce hours for volunteer fire departments, volunteer firefighters, or they're going to have to drastically increase taxes to expand the budgets for these fire departments. And companies are no doubt having to scale back hours with more part-time jobs and less full-time jobs. So there's a direct consequence that employees that have had good full-time jobs now have part-time jobs. I know there's one restaurateur that I spoke with in Minnesota. He owns 7 restaurants. He's got 535 employees. And many in this industry, you think they only employ part-time folks, right? He actually has 41% of his workers working full-time. But now, because of the new law, he's being forced to move all of those folks, nearly all of them, into part-time status of 29 hours. And that's just wrong. That's the consequence again. Mr. Chen, let me just ask a question on retail sales workers, though. How does the 30-hour rule impact retail sales workers?
The research that we've done suggests that they are clearly at risk because of the 30-hour rule. And in fact, if I recall correctly, I think they are most at risk because of the nature of their work schedules and the way in which the 30-hour rule sets up the incentives for them potentially to have their hours cut. So I would say that the retail industry is at, workers in the retail industry are at significant risk.
And Mr. Trautwein, this just follows up with your area of expertise. I mean, what is different about the retail business that makes the 30-hour rule such a top priority for your industry as opposed to, say, an insurance company or a Wall Street firm, big Wall Street firm?
It's really the nature of the retail industry. Frequently, we're open 7 days a week, not quite 24 hours a day, but occasionally that too. But because of the close margins the retail industry has, certainly if we increase the cost of labor, we can afford to have fewer employees in, and it's less expensive to have part-time employees than have full-time employees. But from our standpoint, you know, this is not something that we're either for or against insurance coverage. Retailers were one of the first industries to come up with health insurance coverage. So it's a question of how much additional cost for providing coverage, how much additional compliance cost, how do you keep people in that sweet spot there, and what the effect that has on how people operate their businesses. There are very, very expensive ways to manage, technological ways to manage workforce within that look-back period. But I worry a lot about the small independent stores who maybe are up above that 50 employee applicable level. It's a lot harder for them to manage that cost. So a lot of what we retailers and chain restaurants worry about is the compliance costs of managing this.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.